Hello everyone and welcome back to this brand new video. So today is day number 4 of the grind and I promise that I'm here to stay. Daily uploads are gonna be a thing, hopefully, maybe until I get burned out, but I promise that I'm here to stay. So for today we're gonna be playing Esper Doom Foretold. And what is Esper Doom Foretold? It's it's an annoying control deck that I enjoy playing because I am a control mage. So what does the deck do? The deck is kind of a control deck, obviously, just like I mentioned previously. So you expect the usuals from a control deck. You expect board wipes that allow you to kind of get ahead on card advantage from your opponent. You would expect card draw in the form of Omen of the Sea, Mazemind Tome. Treacherous Blessing is a good card draw engine in this deck. I'll explain why shortly. And you expect some spot removal spells like Eliminate, Heartless Act. Elspeth's Nightmare is a good example of a versatile removal spell because not only does it remove a card from your opponent, but it also targets your opponent the next turn and makes him reveal a card from his hand and then forces him to discard. Why is that good? See, usually in control matchups, the problem is that when you're playing against a control deck, all of your spot removal in your deck is going to do nothing. Literally nothing, because your opponent's not going to play that many threats for you to remove. Now, the good thing with this card is that you can run it out on turn 3 and then turn 4 get a free look at your opponent's hand. Now, why is that good? Let's say you have Doom Foretold and Elspeth's Nightmare in your hand and you really want to resolve your Doom Foretold, but you're expecting that your opponent has a counter spell. So you could either run out Elspeth's Nightmare and then you could either resolve and then your opponent would let it through, and then next turn you get a free look at your hand to have perfect information to go along with to know what to do. Or it would eat a counter spell in order to ensure that on turn 4 your card would resolve, your Doom Foretold would resolve. Now I gave the example of Doom Foretold, but this example could apply to anything. Maybe you're trying to resolve a Yorion, maybe you're trying to resolve an Ashiok. That's the whole gist about why I like Elspeth's Nightmare. Now Eliminate is usually good in Historic because you can hit 3 mana Planeswalkers like Narset. Here it's not that big of a thing, but it can always come into relevance if your opponent's playing maybe a rogue deck like mono white aggro, and then you can eliminate a Basri. So let's discuss our deck choices. Mazemind Tome is a very interesting card because it gives you some kind of life against aggro decks, and it gives you a lot of scries, so you could use it as soon as possible. Now the good thing with Yorion is that you get to reset it. So you could use Mazemind Tome to draw 3 cards, and then before it hits the 4 counters that would force you to exile Mazemind Tome, you would play Yorion, flicker it, reset it, and now you have a Mazemind Tome all over again. Now, being able to abuse Mazemind Tome, pay 2 mana every turn to draw a card is gonna really put you way ahead of your opponent in card advantage. Beyond that, Omen of the Sea is usually a pair with Yorion because you get to flicker it, and then you know the obvious, I get to draw more cards. Negate is here in order to ensure that we play our resolve our key spells, or just to prevent your opponent from playing his key spells. Now, Omen of the Sun is a very good card to flicker with Yorion. It gives you blockers, it gives you life. It's usually the perfect card that you want against an aggro deck, and because we are running 3 Yorions in the main deck and 1 Yorion in the sideboard, it's good. And one funny thing about Omen of the Sun is that you can also use it as a beatdown plan against a control deck. So you could resolve Omen of the Sea on turn 3, and then your opponent doesn't have anything, and then he's obviously not going to want to tap out for a board wipe to kill 2 1/1 tokens, so you keep attacking him with the 2 1/1 tokens that you get from Omen of the Sun. And I am not joking when I say this card has won me multiple games against controlled matchups where your opponent simply does not want to devote any of his resources to dealing with it. Skyclave Apparition is an amazing card, and I can't wait until I leave my country because I want to get back into paper magic, but it's impossible for me to get into paper magic before I get a job in another country due to the very serious inflation happening here. I can't even order cards, I can't even play cards. Don't get me started on the economic collapse in my country. But the thing is, what I wanted to say, Skyclave Apparition is panning out to be one of my favorite cards from Zendikar Rising. Why is that? The card is just so versatile. I like how many things it can hit. I like how people now have to take this into consideration with deck building restrictions, like how many 4 mana permanents do I want to play because they can get Skyclave Apparition. And the fact that I can loop it with Yorion is also amazing, especially that we can also do one very neat trick, which is play Yorion, flicker all of the Skyclave Apparitions, and then you can always shatter the sky while your cards are exiled, while your Skyclave are exiled, and now that way you deal with all of the illusion tokens that would come with Skyclave. And then Skyclave comes back, and then it can take control of, it can exile other permanents. So I really like it because of that. I told you about Elspeth Nightmare and why I think it's amazing. Especially exiling the opponent's graveyard can come in handy. Now, it doesn't always come in handy, but it's always a good thing to have. Treacherous Blessing is a good card draw engine in this deck. Yes, the life loss is a problem, but don't forget that we have Doom Foretold to deal with it. I'll explain what that does in a bit. But the thing is with Treacherous Blessing is that you get to flicker it with Yorion. So drawing 3 cards and playing a 4/5 body all for 5 mana is usually insane. I mean, trust me, I've been playing Magic for a while. Getting a 4/5 body with flying and getting to draw 3 cards because you flickered your Treacherous Blessing is amazing. Now, what did I say about Doom Foretold? Doom Foretold says at the beginning of each of your upkeep, you sacrifice a non-land permanent, and you can read the rest. If your opponent can't do that, he discards a card, he loses 2 life, and then you draw a card and you gain 2 life and you get a 2/2. Yes, it does a lot of stuff. But the main thing here in this deck is that it allows you to lose your Treacherous Blessing so you don't keep on losing life whenever you cast a spell. And usually we're better equipped to keep on sacrificing non-land permanents. We can sacrifice our Omen of the Sea, we can sacrifice our Mazemind Tome, our Omen of the Sun. So usually it's not that big of a problem for us to sacrifice things, and most of the time we would have dealt with our opponent's board. So by dealing with our opponent's board, he's not gonna have anything to sacrifice. So mostly Doom Foretold is gonna be a 4 mana, gain 2 life, your opponent loses 2 life, discards a card, and then you create a 2/2 token, which is decent enough in my opinion. Elspeth Conquers Death is a beautiful card that I like, and usually I wouldn't play 4 of this, but since this is a Yorion deck, which is 80 cards, I mean, we can kind of go with 4. Now, the cool thing about it is that if at any stage your Yorion goes to your graveyard, you get to get it back, and then you get to flicker all of your board because it was in your graveyard. And the other cool thing is that, once again, it's a removal card on an enchantment, meaning Yorion can flicker it, and looping Elspeth Conquers Death with Yorion usually is detrimental to your opponent, because, see, the thing is, when you loop Elspeth Conquers Death, you would have already gotten the second counter on it. Because, okay, let's say you played Elspeth Conquers Death on turn 5. You pass your opponent, it's back to your turn, second lore counter triggers, so your opponent now has to pay 2 more for their non-creature spells. You flicker, you play Yorion, you flicker it. So now, Elspeth Conquers Death is going to exile something again, but your opponent's spells still cost 2 more to cast. And then it's going to come back to your turn, and then it's going to trigger again, and your opponent's spells are going to cast once again 2 more to cast. So you're taxing him continuously, and that's amazing. Actually, I mean, more Yorions is never a bad thing. I mean, you don't only want the Yorions in your companion zone, you would want additional Yorions. Ashiok Nightmare Muse is an amazing card. I always like this card, and this is getting into outside this DeckTech, but the first major tournament that I won, the Pioneer Tourney at my LGS, was thanks to Ashiok Nightmare Muse. So this card really means a lot to me. It represents my first large success at an MTG tourney. But beyond getting emotional right now, let's finish this DeckTech. Shark Typhoon is good because usually it gives you a way to kind of deal with, to play a threat without tapping out on your turn. End step cycle Shark Typhoon attack you is always a good strategy. Dream Trawler is just a finisher here. I mean, I don't like it that much, but I'm experimenting with it. So if you don't like Dream Trawler that much, maybe you can get Dance of the Mans to get back most of the cards in your graveyard that are enchantments or artifact. And Emeria Skull is a perfect card. I am in love with this card. I've loved it ever since it came out, and I still love it till now. So the good thing about it is that it can always play as a land when you're out of lands, and then it's a very good threat at the end of the game. Beyond that, our mana base is very simple: 4 plains, 4 islands, 3 swamps, 4 Temple of Enlightenment, 4 Brightclimb Pathway, 3 Temple of Silence, 4 Clearwater Pathway, Temple of Deceit, and Fabled Passage. Very excited about the Kaldheim pathways because I am sure that this deck would benefit a lot from it, and then if they keep on releasing maybe interesting cards. Now I have seen Kaya, the Planeswalker that was released in Kaldheim. Now Kaya isn't really a fit for this deck, but it's an amazing Planeswalker, so if the new Planeswalker that's rumored to be Blue Nico turns out to be amazing, I am super excited to see what the future holds for Esper Control. Now for the sideboard, 2 Cling to Dust to deal with annoying creature, with annoying graveyard decks, and you can always side it in just as a way to get ahead on card advantage in a mirror match. Duress is here to ensure that we resolve key spells, and Hand Disruption is always good because not only does it disrupt your opponent, it gives you perfect information. Negate, once again, against problematic creature spells. Dispute against rogue decks or against any blue decks where there's a counter spell war expected to happen. Shatter the Sky, more board wipes against aggro decks, same thing for Extinction Event. More Shark Typhoon against control decks where you would want to have a way to play a threat without actually tapping out for a threat on your turn. Ugin the Spirit Dragon, just Ugin the Spirit Dragon. Usually side this in very grindy matchups where you would want more things at the top end and not things at the lower end. Again, it's maybe like an aggro deck. And then Helios Intervention is here against mono green food because that deck grinds out value super well. Funny enough, it's a green deck, but it has so much value incorporated in it. So usually this ends their dreams of gaining any sort of value. That's gonna be pretty much it for this DeckTech, guys. Before getting into the games, I would like to please ask you to subscribe, comment, and like. Now, I thought I should tell you why I keep asking you to comment. The main way for me to get promoted on YouTube and for YouTube to promote my videos is for me to get a lot of comments on my videos. It's part of the YouTube algorithm. So I know it might not seem like a lot to you because like it doesn't take a lot of time from you, but it has such a huge impact on my channel. I'm doing my best to keep on grinding out videos for you guys, but I also need to grow, and I can't grow without your help. So please just take a minute of your day to please comment on my videos. It means a lot to me and it would help the channel propel towards like higher and higher success. Subscribe obviously for obvious reasons, like, and if you want to help the channel beyond that, you can check out my Patreon link in the description down below. And with that, I'll see you in the games. Alright, so going into our first game of Esper Control. You see, this deck is very known for being amazing. So my opponent started the game, saw that I'm an Yorion deck, decided that nah, this is not for me. So we just won our first game in the video. Let's get into our second game. Going into our second game of Esper Yorion. Now it's probably, our opponent's probably playing Temur Ramp, and I think this hand is average against them. Like the hand disruption here is good, but I still think that I want the mulligan this hand. I mean, that's a horrible hand indeed. We're just gonna mulligan, and I think this is better. And I think I'd rather have Elspeth Conquers Death than Ashiok, and I think we can safely bottom land. So that is the plan. So opponent's choosing whether or not to keep 6. He does not. So we're gonna bottom Ashiok, bottom a swamp, and then that should be enough. So we're just gonna play Temple of Silence, scry a land to the bottom. I mean, it seems kind of crazy to keep on scrying lands to the bottom when I have only 2 in hand, but I think we should be fine. Theoretically, we should be fine. Now we can play our... I'm not gonna play Fabled Passage because it would thin out our deck more, and I'm not really trying to thin out my deck more. I really need the lands, so I'm gonna stay calm. Alright, so Mammoth is fine. Skyclave Apparition is a fine top deck because now if our opponent goes turn 3, play Lovestruck Beast, I go untap, play Skyclave Apparition and deal with it. So that should be okay with us. Alright, that's definitely the plan then for now. So we're just gonna play crack this Fabled Passage, get a Plains, and we're just gonna play our Skyclave Apparition, and we are going to exile this Lovestruck Beast. And I'm gonna simply play my Clearwater Pathway as a blue source and pass. Now opponent could have, let's see, Bonecrusher Giant, deal with this Skyclave. He gets a 3/3. Which is still kind of okay because I get to untap, play Elspeth's Nightmare, destroy this, so we should be theoretically fine. So let's see what our opponent has in mind. What do you have in mind, opponent? Yeah, expected. I mean, honestly expected. So I say goodbye to our beautiful, beautiful thing. Alright, so Treacherous Blessing actually sounds better, because now I get to ensure that I make some land drops. If he goes, I play Bonecrusher Giant next turn, we board wipe, and then post board wipe I get to play Elspeth Conquers Death on anything he plays, and then we get to loop Yorion to Elspeth Conquers Death whatever he plays next, and draw 3 cards. So I think that's the plan. I think we don't need more lands at the moment, so we're just gonna bottom that. I am gonna be taking 4 points of damage, which is kind of a lot. It's annoying to take 4 points of damage, but I think it's okay. I think we should be fine. So we'll take 4 points of damage. Opponent just plays Bonecrusher Giant, I assume. Elder Gargoth is even better, honestly. But since he's not extending yet, I'm considering just playing Elspeth Conquers Death. Or, I think I'm just gonna Shatter the Sky. And then we're gonna play Mazemind Tome. And then we're just gonna pass. And I might just use up this Mazemind Tome to gain some life, honestly. Because like we do need the life. Next turn, if we top deck a land, we get to go Elspeth Conquers Death, and then after Elspeth Conquers Death, we get to simply just draw a card, which is good. We are going to do that, in my opinion. My humble opinion, that is. We're just gonna Sky. If I get a land on the top, that changes things. That changes a lot of my math. Yeah, I think we're actually gonna keep Doom Foretold because the only target for our opponent to sacrifice is the Lovestruck Beast. And I think we need to get rid of this Treacherous Blessing because it's kind of taxing our life too much. So I think that's the plan for now. And then I get to go Elspeth's Nightmare. Maybe we sacrifice that. So we are looking in a pretty good spot, honestly. Now we get to play Elspeth Conquers Death on anything he plays for this turn. And we should be good. So let's take the damage. We are down to 9, which is okay. Opponent, what do you have in mind? So there's for sure a Bone Crusher Giant I know of that can be played. Beyond that, I'm not sure. He could just wait out a turn for Doom Foretold to be done with it, so he doesn't have to keep on sacrificing stuff. And that's the power of Doom Foretold. You get to force your opponent not to play anything just because he can't deal with Doom Foretold. Okay, opponent, do you play a Bone Crusher Giant as well? I mean, sure, it's a 5/5 now. I wonder if it would have been a correct decision to maybe keep the land in your hand so that next turn you get to trigger it, but I mean, maybe he's ramping up for an ultimatum. I can't tell. I meant to draw, I don't know what happened, honestly. We're gonna keep Ashiok on top. Sorry for my punt. We're gonna get this Treacherous Blessing off the field, and now we just play our Elspeth Conquers Death. We should have had an extra card in our hand, but it's my fault, so forgive me for that. Ultimatum is the main thing I'm worried about currently. Beyond that, I'm not worried about a lot of cards. So let's see. Opponent bounces our Doom Foretold, which is quite annoying, to be honest. I mean, I still don't think anything our opponent can do beyond the ultimatum would be that detrimental to our strategy, so I'm wondering what our opponent does. Maybe he goes Bone Crusher Giant. Alright, Beanstalk Giant is kind of okay. And then, like, what's the follow-up, opponent? What is the follow-up? No follow-up? I mean, he probably wants to just flash and borrow at Unstep. I think that's his plan. Or he plays Bone Crusher Giant. We're gonna try to aim and get a land on top. Another Doom Foretold isn't what I want. I just want a land. That's not a land. Maybe we just go Skyclave Apparition, take this Elspeth's Nightmare. Yeah, I think that's the plan. We're just gonna double spell Elspeth's Nightmare to deal with this 1/1, and now next turn I get to deal with, if anything stays in his hand, I get to deal with it. If nothing stays in his hand, we are okay. And now next turn we get to get back another Skyclave Apparition in order to take anything he plays as a 3-drop. So we are good. Opponent keeps on top decking lands, feels bad for him. Sure, Fabled Passage is fine with me. There's nothing I can really do to interact with it anyways. I'm not gonna activate Mazemind Tome because I want to reset it with Yorion for obvious reasons. So opponent, what is your plan? What is your plan? If he just plays Obosh, he's probably not gonna, just play Obosh because he knows I have Doom Foretold in hand. So I'm really wondering what he has in mind. Seriously wondering what he has in mind. He has nothing in mind. So let's go to our turn. What do you have in hand, opponents? Sure, retain Skyclave and start with the grindy game. Cultivate is a fine thing to deal with. And now if I play Doom Foretold, opponent actually has to sacrifice his Obosh, so I'm wondering why he didn't play it. Because like now he has to discard it anyways. He could flash and borrow end step actually, never mind. He could flash and borrow end step and that kind of fixes this problem. So we're just gonna run out our Doom Foretold and then we're just gonna pass to our opponent. Yeah, sure. I mean, not my big problem, honestly. Like, it's fine. And then now I can sacrifice Elspeth's Nightmare next turn because, sure. I mean, can't do anything to stop that, can I? Is it time for Ugin? I mean, we played this game well. Like, that happened. Can't stop it, honestly. I can't stop that, can I? Alright, opponent's gonna deal 3 damage to our face. He's gonna deal with the Skyclave. Or with our face. Or with the Skyclave. Opponent does not know what he wants to deal with. So face it is. I mean, I could play Yorion. And then post Yorion, I get Flicker. Deal with Water, deal with Edge Wall. Okay, sure, he deals 3 damage. He deals 1 damage. I mean, I don't know what happened, honestly. I think he messed up his triggers. I'm gonna try to draw into something because, I mean, sure, flickering it sounds amazing, but I don't think it's time for us to flicker it. We can sacrifice Elspeth's Nightmare. If I go Yorion Flicker, he has to sacrifice his Terror of the Peaks. I could risk it, go for Omen of the Sea, try to draw into a land, and then play both, but I don't think it's time for us to take these risky moves. So I'm gonna Flicker. Now we get to deal with Borrower and Edgewall Innkeeper. And I should have taken that into consideration, but I don't think I can do anything about it, honestly. Yeah, sure. And now we're gonna exile Edgewall Innkeeper, exile a Brazen Borrower. And now opponent has to sacrifice his Terror of the Peaks because of Doom Foretold. And we are in a very good spot, to be honest. Alright, so we are in a definitely amazing spot. Now we have a Yorion. If he plays Obosh, we just play our Elspeth Conquers Death. I mean, I'm just trying to draw into a land, honestly. With all the honesty. I don't know why we're not top decking that beautiful land. Alright, Lovestruck Beast is kind of fine. I think we can make do without this Skyclave apparition. Sure, you can get his 1/1. Now, I could either Skyclave, Lovestruck Beast, Omen of the Sun, and I think that's the plan. I'm just gonna play Skyclave, deal with this Lovestruck Beast, and now opponent has to sacrifice his. Never mind, I can't do both. I can play an Omen. I played Omen on my turn to ensure that I hit a land drop to play it now. Another Doom Foretold isn't what I'm looking for. So I think I'm just gonna bottom it, draw that land, play that land, pass to our opponent. I should have attacked maybe with Yorion, but I'm taking the conservative route to make sure that we're not dead randomly. Alright, opponent cycles. Ultimatum is the main thing I'm worried about, so that's why I'm trying my best to get into any gate, which is not happening sadly. Mammoth is fine, it's gonna get Doom Foretold next turn. I think we can make do without this Omen of the Sun. I'm gonna Temple of Deceit to see what the future holds for us. Omen of the Sun is an amazing top deck. So I could go Omen of the Sun, put Yorion into my hand, or I could go Ashiok minus, he has to exile it. I think we go for Ashiok minus, he has to exile it. So Ashiok minus, you have to exile this. I'm gonna start attacking with Yorion because now Doom Foretold is gonna trigger next turn. And we get a 2/2. And we gain some life, so I think we're gonna be safe. And now Omen of the Sun I can play, Omen of the Sea I can play on my turn. Again, Ultimatum is the main thing we're worried about. Terror of the Peaks is fine because we know we have our Omen of the, our Elspeth Conquers Death for it. So we're just gonna play our Omen of the Sea. And now we get our, I don't think I want Emeria's Call at this stage, I don't want to tap out for it yet. Treacherous Blessing is a risky play, so I don't think we're gonna go for it. We're just gonna create a 2/3. The Shadows Awaken indeed, Ashiok. We're gonna offer up the trade, although I doubt he's gonna take it. His plan is to play Beanstalk Giant and then that way win. We're not gonna give him that option, are we? So I'm gonna play Elspeth Conquers Death, deal with Terror of the Peaks, and then put Yorion into our hand. And then just play this down, whatever. See, as soon as I get a negate, the game is locked up. But as long as I don't have a negate in my hand, a top deck Ultimatum can win, but that does not. We had just won this game. Alright. So, negate is a fine play, Shark Typhoon is a fine play, Duress is good, Ugin is good since he's a grindy deck mostly. So disputes are also good because they get to stop the problematic ultimatums, but what do I want to cut out? I think Dream Trawler is just too slow, and it gets bullied by the 5-drop Terror of the Peaks. I really like Elspeth Conquers Death in this matchup. I think Elspeth's Nightmare doesn't have that many hits, and I have better hand disruption now with Duress. Beyond that, what do I want to cut out? Omen of the Sun isn't the best, honestly, in this matchup, because it just gains us some life and then gets us some blockers, which isn't what I'm trying to do. And I think we can cut out on... Actually, I think we cut out on Shark Typhoon. Don't side in and one more Shark Typhoon. I think we don't need that. I'm just gonna keep one Omen of the Sun. I think actually I side out one more Treacherous Blessing, because the life loss is quite scary with the Terror of the Peaks that can hit us for a bazillion. And I think that's the plan. Let's do this. So game 1 is ours. Let's see what happens to game 2. So quite a decent hand. I mean, Mazemind Tome in our opening hand with a Shatter the Sky to board wipe sounds good to me. Teamer Obosh is the deck to beat. Temple of Deceit. Duress is quite a fine pickup. Now I can go next turn Temple of Deceit. Actually, I can go next turn play land, Mazemind Tome, the turn after Duress, and then post Duress I get to draw a card with Mazemind Tome. But the thing is, he hasn't played anything quite yet, so I think I'm just gonna actually go Temple of Deceit, scry this land to the bottom, and then Duress, because I would want to stop anything he has in mind. Alright, nothing he has in mind. That's quite sad. Quite sad, honestly. But he has a very bad hand, so we should have the edge. We should have the edge indeed. Sure, ramping is fine. We're just gonna play our Mazemind Tome and keep the scry game going, guys. We are very good at scrying cards. Mystical Dispute is quite a fine pickup, especially that can act as a mana leak right now, a bad mana leak. Because like if he just plays his Bone Crusher Giant, I get to go untap, play my if he goes, I'll explain what I have in mind. So now he's gonna go into play Bone Crusher Giant, and next thing he's gonna play his Beanstalk Giant, and I'd be ready with the Mystical Dispute, so I feel quite good. Do I scry or do I not? I think we're gonna scry, yes. I already know about the dispute, but I just want to get this, keep on increasing the counters here in order to ensure that I can gain some life if I do need the life gain. Alright, we are going to take this attack, it's not a problem. We are going to take 4, and I'm just going to dispute this. He's going to just put Obosh into his hand. We are going to first thin out our deck, getting a white source because we don't have many in play. So let's get this Bob Ross Plains, and I can simply just draw a card, honestly, opponent. If you don't want to pressure me, I can take my time and assemble my resources. So Mazemind Tome. Skyclave Apparition is a fine top deck. I think we're just gonna play our Fabled Passage, then we're gonna crack it, get a white source, and we're just gonna Skyclave Apparition this Bone Crusher Giant. Obosh with Terror of the Peaks is actually quite a scary combo, if I'm being honest. We're just gonna dispute your dispute. I mean, I'm not that desperate to deal with Bone Crusher Giant, but I don't want to take 8 next turn, so it's kind of something I am forced to do. So mostly our game is going in our favor. I mean, I'm not crushing it, but I don't have a lot of pressure applied on me. If he has an ultimatum in his hand, I mean, too bad, but I would expect him to side out some, since I would be bringing in disputes. So Obosh is expected. Beyond that, nothing. Alright, so now I think we're gonna try to top deck into an Elspeth Conquers Death. Not an Elspeth Conquers Death. Alright, Treacherous Blessing is a good pickup, because if I draw Eliminate, we get to deal with Obosh. Not Eliminate, I mean Heartless Act, we get to deal with Obosh. No Heartless Act, but we do get a negate, so that's good. I'm just gonna play Temple of Enlightenment. Try to scry into an Elspeth Conquers Death. No Elspeth Conquers Death, no such luck. I'm just gonna pass the turn. If opponent doesn't play anything that I need to counter, I just draw a card with Mazemind Tome. Alright, that is definitely something I'm going to negate. I don't want to be taking 6 damage. And now if opponent just plays a Beanstalk Giant, I get to shatter this guy and maybe put Yorion into my hand. So let's see, we're just gonna block. Yeah, it's fine with me, opponent. Our opponent wants to be conservative. He wouldn't play the giant, in my opinion. Alright, he doesn't want to be conservative. I think I'm gonna... So what's the plan for next turn? 1, 2, 3, 4, and then play Yorion. Yeah, I think I'm not gonna hold on into this too long. I think I would just want to try to lock up the game. Ugin is an amazing top deck. Yep. I think we're just gonna keep that boy on top. And we can just now shatter the sky. And now I'm just gonna go fetch up a blue source. And now we're just gonna put Yorion into our hands. Blue source, Yorion, come to daddy. That sounded really weird, I know. Alright, I mean, our deck is functioning pretty well. Bone Crusher Giant to our face is okay. Our deck is functioning well. I'm really proud of what's happening currently. I'm proud of the board state. I'm glad all of this is happening. Now we get to play Ugin, -7, deal with this board state. Let's play this island. Now we get to play Ugin. We're gonna -7 to deal with this Beanstalk Giant. And now we also deal with, I didn't really want to deal with Treacherous Blessing. I wanted to figure it with Yorion, but I mean, I can't ask for everything. Alright, Omen of the Sea is quite a good pickup, because now I get to maybe scry a negate to the top, deal with an ultimatum, which is maybe the only way your opponent gets back into this game. I don't want any of these, I just want a negate, as I previously mentioned. Emeria's Call is actually not a bad pickup. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We can start pressuring our opponent. Let's just create 2 4/4s and hope opponent does not top deck Emergent Ultimatum. See, Emeria's Call is not as good against our opponent because he has Brazen Borrower, which is exactly what he just showcased. But it's still a fine card. I mean, he had to spend Brazen Borrower on just a token. Another Brazen Borrower. Soulseer is okay. I mean, we're still not in a bad position. You have to spend 2 resources for 1 card that I got with 2 tokens I got using 1 card, so we're good. I'm gonna play this Brightclimb Pathway just so I can keep up my blue sources as much as possible. Play Yorion, not the best Yorion, I mean just exiling 1 Omen of the Sea. But I can't ask for much at this stage. I just need a negate to just prevent us from losing the game, and then it should be fine. Shark Typhoon Doom Foretold is a good pickup, so I'm gonna keep both. And I think I can hardcast Shark Typhoon next turn, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I can also play Doom Foretold on the same turn. That's the plan. I mean, I couldn't have stopped this, so let's just try to survive whatever happens. Let's just survive whatever happens. If he goes Ugin, not the worst Emergent Ultimatum, to be honest. Not what I expected. We're kind of fine, honestly. Okay, so with this new information, I think I don't want the Doom Foretold on top, so I'm gonna scry it to the bottom. I don't think I want Emeria's Call either, so let's just do that. Let's just go to our turn. Now we have a Mystical Dispute that you can pay for, so that's sad. I think we're just gonna play this and then try to make a huge Shark Typhoon token that we can win with next turn. So let's see what did our opponent get. What could he have not played with a Emergent Ultimatum? Maybe a Soulseer, maybe another. So we're just gonna make a. I think I can make a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll make a 6/6 Shark Typhoon. If he has a Brazen Borrower, I mean, life is hard. Let's see what happens with this 6/6 Shark Typhoon. And we are going to block this way. Alright, see. Guys, that was pretty much it to win the game. I really like this deck. This deck is super spicy. We won 2 games. Okay, sure, game 1 doesn't count. We won 1 game. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy this deck, please do consider subscribing, liking, and commenting. Once again, guys, commenting is the name of the game to get boosted to the YouTube algorithm. If you have any recommendations for the future videos, do tell me in the description down below. And a reminder that there's a series that's going to start, which is that 12 Days of Christmas, where I'm going to be playing a user submitted deck for 12 straight days. So if you want your deck to be included, join our Discord server, post it, or just post it in the comments down below. I'm always ready to reply to you, and then maybe you can set up a quick Discord chat so we can agree on the deck. And with that, I'll see you guys next time.